Hello, I am Sam Havens, and I'm the development manager at NAMI Delaware. And today I have our Sharing Hope leader and volunteer, Namade, with me as we interview NFL Jacksonville Jaguars safety Doug Middleton.
How y'all doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Doug Middleton is also known for his organization, Dream the Impossible. It's a nonprofit dedicated to mental health awareness, especially in the African American community.
Just like Dream the Impossible, NAMI Delaware is dedicated to ending the stigma around mental illness and bringing awareness and education to our communities. Our largest awareness event is NAMI Walks Your Way, a day of hope. On May 22nd, since we unfortunately cannot be in person this year, we're asking participants to spread awareness for mental health in their own community for a National Day of Hope. You can participate by walking in a park with your team, watching the inspirational videos that we post on our social media, or doing whatever you want that benefits your mental health while spreading awareness. We are so grateful to have Doug Middleton's support and participation in our walk this year. We like to ask people their why, what motivates you to walk. So can you share why you'll be walking?
First, I just want to thank NAMI Delaware for having me participate in this event this year. But for me, mental health is something that, um, really stands out and really matters to me. It's something that's very important to me in my life. And, since the age of 6, my best friend, AJ Morrison, um, we were best friends all the way through, middle school, high school, lived on the same street together. And, after high school, things began to take a turn. AJ started to suffer from severe depression. He was, faced a traumatic event that, triggered some, depression. And, dealing with mental health in the African American community is hard because you're trying to figure out what resources are available. You're trying to figure out, who do you tell, who do you reach out to? And it just really came down to we really couldn't find the resources that AJ needed, to fight what he had going on. Being somebody that was in, coming from a family that has, some mental health expertise, and my mom, there were still times that we saw AJ struggling and we didn't know what to do. Going back on it now and just trying to learn from, things we could have done better. There are so many resources out there like NAMI, like Mental Health America that you can reach out to. Um, Leading up to his death, I spoke at his after he died. I spoke at his funeral, and when I spoke about mental health and I spoke about the things that happen in the African American community with mental health, the pastor got up there and he just kind of pronounced, like, just kind of removed everything that I talked about. He kind of said that, mental health didn't kind of exist and every burden you had needed to just be preyed upon. And that was something that really, stuck out to me, especially in the African American community. There's a stigma around mental health. The fact that, we can't reach out, we can't get counseling, we can't get therapy. We don't need to take any medicine. We just need to pray about it. And I'm always a believer that it's prayer plus therapy, it's prayer plus amongst other things. And so that's something that really encouraged me in my journey, and that's something that I really want to, work on with my organization, and that's changing the stigma around mental health in the African American community.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. First of all, I'm so sorry for the loss of your friend. And you hit on a really good point, which is that stigma that we do have in our community. And it's unfortunate, especially as you mentioned, with your speech and the pastor kind of going back on what you had just said, because we do see that a lot. Can you talk a little bit more and share about how you're helping to get rid of that stigma?
Yeah, so it's really just speaking out on it, and it's really just trying to help connect people with the resources that are out there. I mean, you don't need to, reinvent the wheel. It's just a lot of people don't know that the resources that are really out there to help you. A lot of people don't know about NAMNI. A lot of people don't know about Mental Health America. A lot of people are scared to get therapy. A lot of people think, it's a huge stigma around it. So, continue to work at that stigma and making mental health more of a regular conversation, and making people understand that mental health is just as important as your physical health. Not only doing that, but we work with student athletes, college athletes, professional athletes, and young kids, just helping them know that their mental health is important, helping, through not only speaking engagements, but mentorship, putting them around other young students. That way they can, build up their confidence. That way they can know that, you know, they're more than an athlete. Those are some of the things that we're working on right now.
Have you seen any progress in terms of the stigma and just having people open up and talk about it?
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen some progress. If you talk about, AJ died in 2017, you're talking about 4 years ago almost. I think there's definitely some progress, and especially in the African American community, and it's definitely becoming more of a regular conversation. No, we're not there yet. There's still a lot of work to get done, but I definitely see some progress for sure.
Absolutely. And it's so great, you mentioned going and speaking to the kids and know that you're a Jaguar. So being a athlete plays a huge role in your life. How has your mental health been impacted by being a pro athlete? I think, when we talk about the African American stigma, there's also the stigma for young athletes with being tough and not being emotional. So how has that impacted your life as you've continued?
Oh, you made a great point. That's something us athletes face a lot. A lot of people think that athletes don't have have mental health concerns. They think that we're just so physical. We think we're just so strong and that we don't break down. And that's completely false. Us athletes have depression and we have pain just like everybody else does. We feel we have tough days. There's days I don't want to work out. There's days I don't want to go to work. And but I have to push through. And during those tough days, I really got to lean back to my faith, but I also have to, find different ways and resources that I can kind of step away from life. There's days where, I just remove myself from everything and just kind of take a break. There's days I just do yoga. There's days I go out on the golf course. The golf course is something that's very peaceful to me because not only I'm out there by myself, but it's so similar to life. I mean, you can hit a bad shot, and life. There's times where you get knocked down in life, and you just got to keep going, and then you just got to go to the next opportunity. So, just finding different things that I can do to take a step away from what's going on in my regular life. Those are some of the ways that I kind of attack my own mental health, and that includes even taking a step away from social media sometimes.
Have you
Yeah.
noticed that just with, growing up playing sports your whole life and now being in the NFL, that players are more focused on their physical health and kind of neglect their mental health? Or have you seen people treating it the same? Because I know at NAMI, we really say that we want mental illness to be seen the same as physical illness. And we want, our mental health to be focused the same way that we take care of our physical health.
Yeah, I think for players and for athletes, like we continuously say, I think the stigma is starting to change. It's not, where we need it to be yet because there's still a lot of setbacks. There's still, I mean, you still see a couple bad stories every once in a while, and those couple stories are too much. It doesn't, those stories don't need to happen. That's the life we could have saved. That's someone that, that that we could have extended resources to. But I definitely think, like I said, the conversation is shifting. I definitely think some athletes really do value their mental health just as important as their physical health. I just think that it just needs to become more of a regular conversation. And as athletes, it's tough, because this is your job, this is your brand, this is what you're expected to show people. And certain people think that you may be weak when you have that conversation. So, but as long as we continue to make it a regular conversation, I think the stigmas behind it will continue to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that conversation, I'm always pushing for people to talk about it and bring it to light because I think that that's what helps remove the stigma across the board. You mentioned that when you're struggling, you lean on your faith, which I think is great. What else do you do when you find you're struggling? And then do you have something that you do every day or a part of your routine to take care of your mental health every day?
Yeah, for me, working out is big. Working out is just not something that I do, for my job, but working out is something. I mean, just scientifically, it shows that it will benefit you mentally. Making sure you get a couple minutes in of exercise a day. Going outside on a walk. I start my day every day with a walk. That's something that I have to have. It's not only just it's peaceful, but it gives me a chance to think about what I have going on that day. I think it gives me a chance to really figure out like what I want to accomplish, over this day or over the next week or over the next month. That's something I do every day. Working out, yoga is something I do at least once or twice a week. There's times that, if I'm really struggling, I might play a video game or two here and there just to take a break from things, watch a movie. I talked about golf, and really just, sitting outside. I sit outside and spend a lot of time in my backyard. Um, it's something that's very peaceful to me. And then so I have a bunch of different ways. I've learned throughout the years just to find different ways to really focus on my mental health, and I really understood how important it is. And my brother is a behavioral health uh, crisis counselor, like specialist. So he has a lot of titles, pretty much. But so I have a lot of conversations with him, and that helps a lot. So whatever I could do to either talk or isolate myself in times, it's just a combination of both. Because sometimes you need to talk and sometimes you need to isolate yourself. So it just kind of depends.
Have you seen that the pandemic has definitely made you struggle with mental health in any way? Or, like, do you do anything differently since the pandemic hit?
For me, it's not really the pandemic because the pandemic kind of gave me a chance to like really focus on things that's important to me. I don't know how other people feel about it, but when before the pandemic, you felt like you had to do so many things. You had to go here, you had to be here, you had to do this, you had to see this person, and then the pandemic, starts, and some of the people that you was making all these efforts to see, you don't even really talk to anymore, or some of these things that you was going around to do, like it doesn't even really matter anymore. So it kind of really showed me what was truly important and what was some of the values of my life. But things that I have experienced mental health is injuries. I've had a lot of injuries throughout my career, and really just giving me a chance to take a step back from the game. The first time I had a season-ending injury, I was able to figure out, what I wanted to do after football. I went back and got my master's, and it really gave me a chance to, to focus on my career and journey, after athletics. So I always give this, kind of title more than an athlete. But the second time it happened, I was completely stunned. Like I wasn't expecting, to sit out back-to-back seasons with career season and injuries. And that really hit me. And I was in a dark place, and it was tough. And really, how I got myself out of it is just focusing on short term, a day at a time, and that's something that really helped me out. Just knowing that I had a chance to be better that day. I had a chance to really just is if you look at the journey as far as rehabbing back, it was an 8-month rehab, and mentally 8 months is a long time. It's a long time to be away from something that you identify as yourself at your entire life. But for me, I learned other ways to identify myself, being able to describe myself without talking about football, being able to describe myself without talking about sports. And that was something that kind of helped me a lot.
With your injury, it led you to having to figure out how to talk about yourself outside of football, which has been a huge identity for you. And I think a lot of times with pro athletes and even just athletes in college, so much of their life is their athleticism, and that's how they identify themselves. Do you find, or do you think that there are more resources needed to help them transition out of that, this is who I am, into, you know, this is the other who I am, and more that I have to offer? Because I would think that that would be a depressing time for most people when you make that switch. My brother was a college athlete, and I know it was extremely hard for him when he stopped doing track.
You made another great point. That's something I'm working on right now, actually. So just trying to find more resources for athletes as far as transitioning career-wise after they're done playing. I mean, to be honest with you, if you're an athlete and you really love your sport, there's very few chances that you're going to end your sport on your own term. I can count on my hand maybe. It's not many athletes that chose to walk away from their game, from their sport. It's either going to be you're not good enough to play at the next level, or you know you get an injury, or it's just a bunch of different things that happen to where whenever you think it's going to end, it doesn't usually end. So um, that's the thing that catches people off guard. They aren't really prepared for it all the time. They think, okay, hey, like I've been playing this sport my whole life, I'm probably going to play another 10 years, and it's not like that. Um, I've had friends that have been done playing for 6 years, and just are now finding peace, or just are now finding their identity, just are now finding purpose and passion is something that they're doing in life. And that's the tough thing about it. If you don't prepare while you're playing, when you get done, it's going to be kind of too late, because it's not only just the mental health part of it, but it's about the resources that you can leverage while you're playing. You have access to so many people. You have access to so many different resources and opportunities and career paths that sometimes, as soon as you remove that NFL from your name, or that college athlete from your name, those career opportunities aren't there anymore. So it's about learning how to leverage the platform that you have while you have it. And that's some of the things that I preach to the student athletes, professional athletes, is that while you're at a school, while you're at a SEC school, or while you're at a top 25 school, you should be reaching out to the alumni and trying to figure out ways to leverage the platform that you have now, so that when the game does end, you'll be able to make a smooth transition.
Nice. I love
And
that you're helping with that.
yeah, it's amazing. On kind of a more serious note too, I wanted to talk about your friend EJ, when he died by suicide. I know a lot of people struggle when they lose a friend or a family member. They feel guilty that they didn't do something. They think, oh, I could have saved them. Did you ever feel like that? And how did you deal with that? Do you have any advice for somebody who has lost a loved one to suicide?
Yeah, that's a great point. Guilty. Yeah, I think I felt like that for maybe the first 2 months. Um, but then I look back on it, and from everything that I knew at that time, I did everything that I could. Um, Now I know more. I know a lot more than I did 4 years ago, and I have access to a lot more resources than I did 4 years ago. But at that time, I felt like it was everything that I could do. Um, I guess the advice that I would give people, that struggle with the guilt, or they struggle and feeling and thinking that, you know, they could have done more to save their friend, or their loved one, is think about it like this: like, if your friend or your loved one died and you do nothing about it, then yes, you're gonna feel guilty. But for me, um, AJ's story is gonna save so many other lives, and it's gonna save so many other people, that there is no way I can feel guilty, because um, it's I'm not gonna say it's like he made a sacrifice, but he's done so much to help other people, and his story has given me it's given me a platform. It's given me a way into other people's hearts, and it's given me a way to help other people. So um, and there's definitely times I do feel like I could have done more, and I'm able to sleep at night because I know that I'm doing everything now, with the story that he's given me.
That's amazing. I think it's so inspirational that you do have this big platform and that you use it to help people talk and learn about mental illness, to try to reverse the suicide rates by talking about it. And I know your friend would be so proud of you right now.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about with Dream the Impossible? If people want to get involved, how can they do that? And what advice do you have to just tell people to start opening up the conversation about mental health?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about Dream the Impossible, you can check out our website, dreamtheimpossible.org, or you can go to our Instagram at dreamtheimpossible36. And any advice or any words of wisdom I would tell people about mental health is that um, there is no there's no frowned upon, there's no stigma, there's no certain critiques that you're going to get because you want to reach out and have resources for your mental health. The most successful people, the best, the people that have accomplished the most in life is when they realize that their mental health is just as important as their physical health, and they take it seriously. Um, and nobody else is going to take your own mental health seriously unless you do. So that would be my advice to people: is that before you can put other people, before yourself, make sure that you check on yourself, and you do everything you can to stay mentally healthy.
Yeah, that's great advice. NAMI Delaware has a lot of resources for you. I would suggest going to www.namide.org to check out all of our resources. And also, like I mentioned in the beginning, the walk that we are having on May 22nd, a big part of that is a chance to spread awareness and just have that open conversation in your community. Let your friends and family know that it's okay to talk about mental health struggles. And with that, if you would like to register for the walk, or if you would like to just find out more information about it, you can text NAMI DE space walk to 56512. That's NAMI DE space walk to 56512. So we hope to see, some people watching right now participate in the walk. And we want to thank Doug Middleton for participating in the walk this year with us, and for just all that you do for mental health and really getting rid of the stigma. So thank you so much. Your story is truly inspirational.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.